Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Rich Clark, Guide to the Right Path. And you can see this horrible thing here is what I'm going to be talking about, the fear of germs, Mysophobia. So Mysophobia is number 8 in the top 100 fears and phobias issues people deal with. So what is mysophobia? So I'm going to explain this. So mysophobia, the fear of germs, is mysos is the Greek word for germs, and phobis means fear. So thus mysophobia is the excessive and often irrational fear of microbes or getting contaminated with germs. Mysophobia is also known as germophobia. So you will hear people go, oh, someone's a germophobe, they don't like things and they're obsessively overwashing and stuff. This is also very linked to OCD. So people with an excessive fear of germs believe the world to be a very filthy place and may develop obsessive-compulsive disorders. Again, hence the acronym OCD. As a result, they are always washing or cleaning well beyond a concern with cleanliness. They are known to spend major parts of the day doing activities over and over again. Mysophobics may also spend vast amounts of money on buying cleaning products and exposing themselves more than necessary to the harmful chemicals which many of them contain. It is important to notice the difference between being tidy, orderly, to being a mysophobe. So a mysophobic individual is mainly concerned with the contamination of sterilization, as unlike a tidy person who would only clean surfaces to ensure there is no dust. So many people with extreme fear of germs also tend to think about microbes all the time. They fear getting contaminated from dirt, dust, grime, or people who are just even sneezing or coughing. The more often a mysophobe feels sick, the likeliness they are bound to believe and they need to clean. This can severely impact one's daily functioning. So the cause of the fear of germs phobia, mainly mysophobia, stems from obsessive-compulsive disorder, or OCD. This week I've been talking about that subject. I've been talking about OCD in different terms, different types of OCD there is, and I've also talked about the film As Good as It Gets, which actually is the main character suffers with OCD and how he tries to navigate through his life. The sufferer feels the need to wash their hands frequently, which is often one of the characteristics of OCD. Naturally, in a case of a mysophobia, the motivation to frequently wash stems from the fear of microbes, unlike that in the OCD, where it's more of a matter of following a routine. That being said, most patients are known to suffer from both conditions, as though medical evaluation is hence necessary to determine if it's mysophobia or OCD. Hereditary and genetics are believed to have a strong link to the fear of germs phobia. Children with an obsessive-compulsive parent or a caregiver are likely to become a mysophobe. Also, additionally, a traumatic personal or witness event in the past or even a random event can trigger mysophobia. The media learning about germs at school or getting sick after coming in contact with germs can reinforce one's belief about microbes to the extent the individual learns to excessively fear germs. This is the trouble with how COVID worked in the COVID times, because people believed that they were going to catch COVID more, and the fear the media were perpetuating was making it worse. Whereas actually, if people were actually clean and tidy and they actually kept their distancing with that, if someone had COVID or had a flu like you would with the flu, then you would have been okay. But what most people believe is that you catch something, you get rid of it, though you may be sick for a while. It's kind of this very much, you've got to get rid of that paradigm of thinking. So the symptoms of mysophobia is depending on the level of fear, and the different symptoms can be maybe seen in the individual. So the physical symptoms of a panic attack, and this is perceived to be the presence of germs, such as shaking, dry mouth, sweating, nausea, rapid and irregular heartbeat, etc., are seen in people suffering from the excessive fear of germs. The patient is also likely to indulge in unreasonable behaviour or actions like the following: washing frequently and excessively, refusing to use public bathrooms, avoiding all kinds of social activities or places that conclude coming in contact with germy people or even animals. They're refusing to share personal items like combs, brushes, or food with anyone. I mean, me personally, sharing food with people is, I think you should do it, sharing food, but I think it's also, there's some limits within that. Gradually, the individual may impose many restrictions upon themselves, including refusing to touch the doorknobs directly or shaking hands with anyone. Well, being a man, most men don't wash their hands in the toilet, so actually I would always have paper towels to not only dry my hands, but also having tissue to handle the doorknobs or handle the actual door frame or door handle, because most men do not wash their hands when they've gone to urinate, and sometimes even if they've gone for number two. So yeah, men are actually dirty creatures in most senses. However, they also will be constantly using products like hand sanitizers. This happened a lot in COVID with a lot of people. Soaps, which in large quantities, as paradoxically known to make one prone to infection. Sometimes you overwash, overclean. It makes you actually, most bugs are actually attracted to overcleanliness. Even that's like mites, bugs, fleas, everything. It's quite interesting. Lice as well. Thus, mysophobia can severely impact one's occupational, social, and familiar activities. So, what's the treatment for this fear of germs? Okay, so there's a few here. So a combination of therapies is recommended for treating phobias like mysophobia and anxiety disorders like OCD. So anxiety disorder is OCD. Mysophobia is also slightly different. It's more of a phobia. So what it includes is pharmaceutical drugs which calm the brain down, calm how that works. Cognitive behavior therapy, CBT, and the exposure and gradual desensitization therapies, as well as a relaxing training. So exposure and gradual desensitization is actually a form of hypnotherapy. And what you do is actually you either expose you to that, or you would actually get the person, when they're in trance mode, to actually feel that they're in a room which is full of germs and so forth, and then get them to actually reframe how their brain works to how they feel about germs and so forth. Exposure therapy, though, I'm going to go in, I think is very useful. It consists of helping the phobic relearn how to encounter germs gradually until they are able to refrain from washing their hands. The individual also will learn to focus on calming techniques, and this is through meditation, breathing techniques, and just calming relaxation and visualization. Develop the ability to remain in a contaminated environment without having a panic attack. Cognitive behavior therapies help the person with a fear of germs change their attitude and thoughts about them, germs, as a plural. This involves writing down negative, positive thoughts such as, I fear I will die from germs, to germs are something healthy, sometimes healthy and useful to us, and so on. The patients are then asked to decide on beliefs that are healthier and useful to them. Now, this is also quite interesting that people also, they don't like germs, but then they'll actually buy things which are actually a form of germs. So penicillin is actually a germ. So if you have penicillin to help you with an infection, that's a germ. If you have Yakult, the yogurt, that is actually fermented germs with penicillin in yogurt. If you don't sterilize or you don't have, so if you had raw milk and you don't have sterilization or pasteurization, that would create germs. But then also they can help rebuild the gut. So again, it's understanding this without being so, high and dry and cutthroat. Like, this is germs, this is not. Again, being cleanly in yourself. I've talked in a video about cleanliness, and it's good to have cleanliness because it's also about the idea of creating a space, creating safety for yourself, and also protecting yourself as well. But again, there's limits to this, and I think it's just getting that balance right. And I do think that people, there seems to be this cut or dry of like, oh, you're too fussy, but it's actually you're just getting that balance right. But also, germs are a necessary part of our life, and for a person with excessive fear of germs, life can be very stressful and complicated. And this isn't a perfect example. If you watch the film as goes it gets, you will actually notice the main character, Melvin Yildo, who's Jack Nicholson plays. He's very grumpy. He's a misanthrope. He hates people, but actually his life is stressful and complicated because of the OCD, because of all the different routines he has to do. And he actually finds it very frustrating. And you've actually, in the end, as much as you dislike his character, you actually feel sorry for him, what he deals with. But again, however, there's always hope and many treatment options that can help one heal completely from mysophobia. So if you feel you have a form of mysophobia, or you feel you have an issue with overcleanliness or forms of OCD, please contact me on www.richclark.net, and you will book a free discovery call, and we can go through the issues you're going through, and then you can discover with that, we can discover how we can help you, and I'll give you the prep for that. And then you can make a decision. Now, you can do it. You can either go into my programs, or as I've got a special offer at the moment for a mini session for 40 minutes after the discovery call, it is £55 for 40 minutes. And then afterwards, you can go into programs which will help with more issues you have. So until then, I shall speak to you soon.